Well, Charlie and I were looking out the window and we can see it snowed. Charlie, let's go show the kids the window. Let's go look out there. Yeah, it's all white and cold and snowy. Charlie, do you want to make a snowman? All right, today we're going to use the snow as inspiration for an artwork. All right, let's get started. For this project, we're going to draw a snowy ground, pine trees, snowflakes, and then paint the sky using watercolor with salt. The supplies you'll need are crayons, maybe a marker, watercolor, a brush, and some table salt. You'll also need some scrap paper for making your snowman. Make a hill that looks like a gentle curve. You can make two, and your picture will have more distance. Distance looks like there's space in your picture. Now I'm just using a triangle shape to make a pine tree. The rectangle below looks like a trunk. Here's another way to make a pine tree. I use more than one triangle, and I let the top of the next triangle underneath hide right under the one above. See how it looks like they're overlapped? You can add designs too. Make your pine trees look however you want, but remember you'll probably have a snowman in the center, so maybe don't put too many details right in the middle. Okay, now let's draw snowflakes. I used a white oil pastel because I couldn't find a white crayon. You can use a white crayon and make X shapes with a plus sign in the middle like I did with the blue, and you can use blue too. When you paint over your crayon, it should show through the watercolor. For the technique using salt, you want to make sure your paper has a lot of water mixed with your watercolor so that your paper looks very wet. When you sprinkle the salt on top of the wet watercolor, the water absorbs into the salt and it gives it a really neat visual effect. It looks almost like snow in the distance. The way to manage the salt and the watercolor is to do this. Remember, use lots of water, paint a little, and then after that spot is filled in, grab some salt in your fingertips and then sprinkle it on the top. Try not to paint where you've already sprinkled salt. So let's review. Paint a little. Use lots of different colors too, like purples, blues, maybe even turquoise. There it is. I painted a little. Painting a little more. And then once that spot is filled in, sprinkle some salt on top of the wet paint. It looks like I'm still painting, but let's see when I'm ready to sprinkle salt again. Make sure it's really wet when you sprinkle. There I go. I'm sprinkling salt all over. Sometimes I even get more salt and add it wherever it's wet. Now, once you're done sprinkling salt, you can also paint your trees and you can sprinkle salt on those too. It's important you let your picture dry for a very long time before you wipe the salt away. So right now I'm just adding a little snowy shadow. I used a tiny bit of watercolor and then I dipped my brush into the water to get some of that extra color off of the brush to make a really light highlight of snow, or like a shadow of snow. While my painting was drying, I decided to work on my snowman. I traced and drew 3 circles, a small, medium, and large circle. You can see I'm cutting them out. And I also have some pink scrap paper for a scarf. Maybe you have some colors of scrap paper in your art folder that you can use. Or you could even draw the details of your scarf or hat or snowman's face with crayon too. All right, now let's talk about how to get the salt off of the picture. When it feels like your paint is no longer wet and you know for sure that all of your paint is dry, you can take your painting very carefully and hold it over top of some kind of trash can. I used a little brown paper bag. Then I brushed all of the salt into the bag with my fingertips. You'll probably want your picture to dry for about an hour or maybe longer. When it's done, you get this cool effect with the salt and watercolor. Alright, once your picture is painted and dry, it's time to start gluing the largest circle first, followed by the medium, then small. Add fun details like winter scarves or hats. You can draw a face. Have fun designing your snowman and make it look creative and unique. I hope you enjoyed this snowy winter landscape. It's time for me to go for a walk in the snow.